Boxing King Media. We are here in Dubai with Gareth A. Davies, drinking a halal martini.
Margarita, halal margarita, Boxing King Media here at the Jumeirah Beach Hotel. Great to see you, you hot footer around the world. I think you're the last leg. I'm your last leg, not your last leg, but your last interview on your world tour. Right, can I, if I can remember rightly, you've gone to
Riyadh.
You've gone to Riyadh for Benavidez Yard. You've gone to Lahore for an amazing week in the motherland, for you, or the fatherland, however you want to call it, in the homeland. You've gone to Bangkok for the WBC convention. You've gone to Australia for Jai Opetaia and Hussein Sin and now you've hot-footed it to Dubai. Whatever you've been doing here earlier on the day, I don't know. I'm sure that'll come out and be revealed.
Yep.
And I'm your last stop at the Jumeirah Beach Hotel. I'm here for the IBA, International Boxing Association World Championships. Do you go home later or not? Do you actually get to go home?
Yeah, I've got one more thing to do after you. Then I think it's some few days rest. I think I've seen Eddie Hearn say he's the best promoter in the game and he's the hardest working. I think I'm probably the hardest working when it comes to content. I don't want to sit and say I'm the best. Let people make that judgment.
Oh, I think you've won awards this year as well, haven't you? Congratulations on that. We haven't seen each other in person for an interview for a little while. I'm going to throw a few things at you. This is the most incredible period for matchmaking, news, people changing weight divisions, controversy in lots of ways around sanctioning bodies, TKO on the rise, Muhammad Ali Act.
So much happened in the last few weeks.
It's unbelievable. I've never known I started writing about boxing in 1990. I don't think I can ever remember an end of year. Obviously when Tyson Fury beat Vladimir Klitschko 10 years ago to the week, it was an amazing moment. And I think December 2008, when Ricky Hatton fought Floyd Mayweather, was very big, obviously, but for one fight. But I don't think I can ever remember an end of year, not when someone's globetrotting like this. I mean, years ago I probably would have been doing the same, although I might have missed out one of those stops because I can write without being there. But I think it's the busiest end to a year I can ever remember.
Yeah, 100%. I think 24,000 miles is what I've done. And apparently the Earth is 28,000 miles. I don't know if that's correct or
But
not.
by the time you get home, you'll have done the whole planet.
Yeah, basically, yeah. But it was worth it. An incredible life experience.
I love the fact you got Alexander Usyk and above everyone else out in Bangkok at the it was Bangkok, wasn't it? The WBC conference in Thailand.
Oh, we'll ask you about
You
that.
have a very special relationship with Alexander Usyk now. Have you been to his home? Isn't that right? You've been to his home, and that relationship really developed last year in those two fights with Tyson Fury, didn't it? Where you actually became spiritual friends, didn't you? It's quite interesting. I think it's always a brilliant part of the journey when you become friends with people. It actually makes the job harder when things go wrong for them in their careers, you know.
I tell you what, though, I've never let it stop me from asking him the questions that the fans want to hear. Yeah. But there's something else I picked up in the interview on TalkSport. I think Simon Jordan had a bit of a swipe at me for the way I was speaking to him. And obviously, from the life experience I've got, and knowing Usyk and having interviewed him numerous times, from my experience, if I speak to him like this, how I'm speaking to you right now, he needs a translator. So he'll look at me and then he'll be like, shit, I don't know what you said. He'll look at the translator. Then we're wasting 2 minutes where it's getting cross-fed. But if you watch that interview, I think he used a translator maybe once or twice. I know it sounds crazy. Yeah, so I'm speaking in broken English, but it actually helps him understand. And a lot of people don't get that because you get people, taking swipes in the comments.
Let's talk about that, about you getting a hard time over not giving him a hard time for wanting to fight Deontay Wilder. Because
no, I think I did because
I
said
don't think you gave him a hard time.
Well, the first thing I said was
questioned it, like the Inquisitor.
Yeah, so people will say that Wilder's not the same Wilder. So why you've got to fight Wilder? Why not Wardley? But as I think you picked up earlier, he wants legacy fights, and I think that's what it sounds like. He's not bothered about the money anymore. He can't earn any more money. He's got enough money to last generations. So I get the feeling he wants names on his list.
Oh, you can never earn too much money because you're a long time retired, and he will be a long time retired. He may well live another 50 years after stopping boxing. I think it's exactly how I saw it. It was a curveball for you when you interviewed him. I'm sure you broke the story. And congratulations on that, because he was obviously holding that to give it to you, given how close you two are. I completely got it the minute he mentioned Deontay Wilder. I wanted to see Deontay Wilder fight Anthony Joshua, and those two should have been calling each other out and having the fight, made it 50-50 and gone for it. But he wants to bookend the era. When people look back in 20 years' time, they will say, look, he beat Tyson Fury, he beat Anthony Joshua twice, he beat Tyson Fury twice, he beat Daniel Dubois twice. Oh, he beat that guy Wilder as well, who had those 3 amazing fights with Tyson Fury. There's no one significant at the moment, anyway, in this era, yet, who he hasn't fought. And when people look back in 20 years' time, they will say those things, much as they do with Joe Calzaghe when he fought Roy Jones Jr. and Bernard Hopkins at the end of his career. Bernard Hopkins he was at the tail end, but not the very tail end. Roy Jones was. Larry Holmes was at the end of his career when Mike Tyson fought him. Floyd Patterson was at the end of his days when Muhammad Ali beat him. This has always happened. He is creating legacy for himself if he fights Deontay Wilder. I don't know where it'll happen.
That's my question to you. Who's going to pay for it? Obviously, I didn't ask him this question, but obviously he's not an in-house promoter. So because we've seen that the whole Riyadh season thing hasn't really, they've kind of moved away from the whole Usyk thing. So who do you think pays for that?
If he wanted to do that in the UK, he could. They could promote it themselves there. I'm sure there were about 50,000 Ukrainians when he fought Daniel Dubois at Wembley. They could go to Poland and do it. He could have his fight in Las Vegas and do it. He could have an American fight. They could take over Cinco de Mayo if they really wanted to, in my view. There are enough people who love and support Alexander Usyk for him to do it anywhere in the world, in my view. We know that Deontay Wilder's past his best. We know that he couldn't pull the trigger in those 2 fights against Joseph Parker, particularly that one, where Joseph Parker really did upend him, and obviously against Zhilei Zhang. But I do get why he's doing it. Yes, we're giving him a bye, giving him a pass here, but Deontay Wilder's still got a dangerous punch, but I don't think he has any chance. Well, he doesn't have a very good chance against Alexander Usyk. And I hope they announce the fight soon.
Let's see what happens with that.
It's stirred up Tyson Fury as well, hasn't it? So in the last few days.
Yep. So he's pretty much made it clear that he's coming back. That's what he's dropped as a hint. I was just thinking of this. Like, it sounds absolutely wild. Obviously, he's gonna have a comeback fight. So Anthony Joshua chose Jake Paul as a comeback fight. If I was just thinking the other day, if Andrew Tate wins next week, what if Tyson Fury fought Andrew Tate? Imagine the numbers that would do.
Absolutely, it's enormous, and obviously he fights here on the same night, or the day after, the Saturday, December the 20th, correct? Against Chase Moore. Look, Tate will win that. He's a very formidable boxer, and I've enjoyed his interviews talking about boxing in the last few weeks. He's got a humility about him when he talks about fight sports, and when you see him in training, that you don't see from those outpourings about being a man, about being macho, about promoting yourself as a male human being, which is a completely different subject. Tyson Fury against Andrew Tate. I'm not sure Andrew Tate would take that.
I'm just thinking numbers.
I don't know. It's an enormous fight. I mean, myself and Adam Catterall on Saturday night at TalkSport, he posited the reasoning that maybe Jake Paul is the biggest name in boxing right now. That obviously Alexander Usyk would dispute that. Terence Crawford might dispute that, but the numbers trending for next week, and I've been on the road a little bit like you have. Miami for bare knuckle, Cardiff, Dubai, Miami, slightly different. Back next week for that. How weird that as we end 2025, that Jake Paul against Anthony Joshua is trending to be the most bet on fight of the year, according to William Hill, who obviously I work for. Notwithstanding your thoughts on it, but it's trending to be the most watched fight of the year on Netflix and the most bet on fight of the year. It's quite extraordinary, isn't it? And also, having been at the press conference for Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul, and even by my own meandering experience, I put a little reel out of my interview with Jake Paul and Nikisa Bidarian. He was giving me a little bit of a hard time. You probably haven't seen it, but did like 950,000 views within 3 days. The guy draws numbers, and as you know, numbers means big money, big fights, big resonance in boxing. He shouldn't have a chance in hell against Anthony Joshua, but you just craning your neck to have a look. I'm going next week. Talk Sport are going. I'll be writing for the Telegraph every day. William Hill are fascinated in it. Surely you're going to do your final leg of the year, unless you're going to the 27th of December in Riyadh. Surely you'll be in Miami next week.
Definitely will be somewhere, but I can't say where yet.
You'll have a representative there, put it that way then.
Possibly. I tell you what, that whole Jake Paul thing, it just reminds me of the interview I did with Jai Opetaia a few days ago, and the direct quote,
God, he's dangerous.
What are we doing in a world where people are fighting each other based on social media numbers? Why aren't the best fighting the best? He just wants all the smoke. I don't know if he was saying that aimed at the Jake Paul Anthony Joshua thing, but does he make a point? Have we kind of lost boxing to the whole social media game?
I've just got an interview coming out with David Haye. I had a fantastic interview with David Haye last week. He was sitting in his Rolls Royce in Knightsbridge in Kensington, and what he was saying was, if I'd been fighting all those years ago, or now, all those years ago, if suddenly someone had said to me, you've got to fight with Jake Paul, he said, I wouldn't have even considered it. I would have taken it at a moment's notice. Simple as that. I would have taken the fight. He thought Anthony Joshua was sharing 140 million. I believe it's 25 million he's getting, but he's getting 25 million for his easiest night's work. Little warm-up fight in Miami, in the heat of South Beach, all the press conferences in the Fillmore. He couldn't say no to it. And David Haye, if you recall, you weren't around in those days, he was the arch creator of headlines, the severed heads of the Klitschko brothers on his t-shirt. Yeah. He was going to beat, these are David's words, not mine, he was going to beat Jean-Marc Mormec in Paris in the Marcel Cerdan Centre more than Rodney King got beaten in the LA riots. His quotes, not mine. And Audley Harrison was going to be jail rape for him. His words, not mine. These were all headlines at the time. And I spoke to Dave, he said I couldn't create those headlines today because it wouldn't be accepted by the companies that put on the fights. And those are his words. And we went over that. And he said, you know, what you've got to realise is when fighters make noise, when people make noise, people want to watch. And that's what Jake Paul does very well, to give him his dues. He's also got absurd levels, almost, yeah, they are absurd levels of no fear, because he is genuinely at risk, and it's the reason why I critique the fact the fight is going ahead, because I think it's actually dangerous for him, and there's no way on earth that would ever have been licensed in the UK. Let me put this to you. Tommy Fury beat him. Would they ever in the UK, if Anthony Joshua defeated Tyson Fury, would the board, if Tommy Fury said, right, I'm going to take revenge for my brother, would they ever license that fight? Never in a million years. So that's what we've got. We've got that kind of scenario. You've just come back from Australia where Hussein Sin Cara, I don't know if he's still in hospital, but we're 4 days after the event, 3 days after the event, and he suffered a very dangerous injury to his brain. And I think a broken vertebrae, didn't he, in his neck. So my fear is that Jake Paul gets horribly damaged in that fight. I hope AJ goes to the body. Simple as that.
There's every chance Jake might just run.
He will run. He's got to run, and he's got to run for more than 2 rounds, because then there's some kind of Pyrrhic victory, not a real victory, but a Pyrrhic victory, that he's gone longer against Anthony Joshua than Francis Ngannou managed in Riyadh. If Anthony Joshua doesn't get him out of there inside 3 rounds, in my view, he'll be pilloried by everyone.
Quick word on Jai Opetaia. So we saw him get the win. Obviously, we talked about his opponent's injury, and I believe he's the fourth out of his. That's 4 out of the last 5 opponents that have left the venue in an ambulance, which is a scary thought when you think about it. He's hurting people really bad. I know he got buzzed for literally a split second, but to be fair, he was straight back on him after that. And I think Sin Cara was a lot better than people probably expected. But based on what you saw on Jai Opetaia, I personally love the him and Benavidez fight. How do you kind of see that unfolding if that fight happened?
Well, Benavidez has got to beat Ramirez first, of course. So Zurdo Ramirez, the Golden Southpaw, and they're lining that up. I thought Benavidez was brilliant. David Benavidez was brilliant in the event in Riyadh against Anthony Yarde. I spoke to just to bring the round on this, Tunde Ajayi was in the studio and talked sport with me on Saturday night, and he was very honest about the fact that he doesn't believe Anthony could have gone any better against Benavidez. He said we were dealing with an elite level fighter there, and I think he really is an elite level fighter. I think he beat Zurdo Ramirez. I think he will beat him, and we may well end up with Jai Opetaia against David Benavidez, and it's a fight that Turki Al-Sheikh will get behind, in my view. It'll be a big money fight, a big fight with lots of resonance, lots of platforming, lots of publicity. I would pick Jai to win that, but David is capable of picking him apart, breaking him down early on. We saw that with Sin Cara, that he rocked Jai early. Listen, I think Jai is amazing. And Ellis Zorro was in the studio on Saturday night as well, and he was talking about how dangerous. He didn't know. I forgot about that. He didn't know. Yeah, well, it was very similar to Sin Cara, where his head. As I said to Ellis on the night, we had a fantastic interview with him for half an hour in studio on fight night. I said, I remember your head bobbing on that bottom rope, because he literally hit him and flew him across the ring, didn't he, with his head landing on the bottom rope. Do you recall, in Riyadh? It was scary. He's a scary dude.
Yeah. Tell me this, because this blows my mind. Obviously, there was some talk in the build-up about his deal with Matchroom, and I think Eddie did some interviews, and it was a bit wish-washy, but I think when I spoke to Jai and his team, they kind of clarified that there is no promotional agreement anymore.
I think he's still part managed by Spencer Brown.
Yeah, he is, but
unless he's been let go.
No, he's with Spencer and Tasman Fighters basically. But Mick Francis, make this understandable. This guy is so marketable, amazing. You see his pre-fight interviews with fighters don't do views, but he's always do views, and then the comments are amazing. People love the way he comes across. How is this guy who's knocking people out, very easy to market, not signed to one of the big promoters in the Western world on some crazy deal? Because there's fighters out there who are less marketable, got promotional deals. I can't understand it. You explain it to me.
Well, Jai is a very straight talking character. I mean, as you know, when he gets going, he can't stop swearing as well, and that's not even in fight week. He's an extraordinary man with red hot. I think he managed to channel. There's an anger in him, if I can say it that way. And I remember sitting with him in, where were we all with him?
At Wembley?
No, we were abroad. We were in America. It was at Crawford Canelo.
Oh, yes.
It was the night of Undisputed, the Undisputed game, Ashes game. I just remember sitting with Jai and doing an interview with him and realising how big he is. He's a small heavyweight, but he's a very big dude. And he's got this red hot streak in him where he's not going to kowtow and be told how to be. He's slowly developed into someone that we love to listen to. He's very straight talking. He's not a talker in lots of ways. But I think his work, like you say, you just talked about it, the last 5 fights, it's like Ellis was saying on Saturday night. He'd only really seen him against, was it Jack Massey he fought? He said, or Jordan Thompson, maybe it was. And again, he'd come and he'd knock people out. They didn't really know a lot about him. So I think he's one of those guys that could promote himself or do it his own way if he really wants.
Why isn't he with the? I don't get that. Why haven't Matchroom, Frank Warren, even Golden Boy? I can't understand. This guy's marketable. Like, make it make sense.
Yeah, he is marketable. I don't know the reason, Boxing King Media, but what I'll say is this. If he continues to progress in the way he is, him and David Benavidez, if he tightens his game against Benavidez, if he fights Benavidez or Ramirez, that's an amazing fight. Obviously, he becomes undisputed at that point in the cruiserweight division, and at that point, if Alexander Usyk's still around, what a fight we have between two amazing southpaws. And also, what an amazing fight we'll have with Moses Tauma and Jai Opetaia. Look at the future he's got. Look how much money he's going to earn. Look how much...
You know, you say money. He's not bothered about money.
No, I know.
He's chasing legacy.
No, I'm not saying money's the thing, but he is going to be in the biggest money fights eventually. And he's going to be in the biggest fights on earth. And he could go on to do what David Haye did, what Evander Holyfield did, what Alexander Usyk's done. There is a possibility that if Jai continues to improve, that he could be undisputed as a heavyweight. He's a small heavyweight, but if he can beat Usyk, if he ever fights Usyk, and he can beat Moses Tauma, or have a trilogy with Moses Tauma, imagine those two having a trilogy, two Southies, two lefties having a trilogy. It's quite incredible what he's got ahead of him. And I love all the guys around him. And, you know, when you're around his dad, for example, you can see where it comes from, the physicality of his father, the team around him. He's one of those guys that physically probably could have been a wrecking ball flanker in an international team for New Zealand or Australia. He's just got that tensile strength, hasn't he?
I'll say from my experience with him, the Samoan people are amazing, very welcoming, and
That's why I said New Zealander first of all.
Well, once you gain their trust, as you know, you're family to them.
He's a warrior. He's a warrior.
So he was, and I had a great chat with his dad post-fight as well, who gave me a bit of an insight.
He's a big man, his dad, isn't he? He's a big dude, yeah.
Great bloke. Last thing I want to speak to you about, Gareth, before I let you go.
No questions from the subscribers this week.
I've not even looked. We'll save that, because you know what? I'm going to save that, because if anyone's got any questions for Gareth, I get the feeling there's going to be loads of situations people can imagine Gareth A. Davies in Dubai. So if you've got any images or analogies, just share them in the comments.
I'm going to be having a good time tonight. Anyway,
yeah. If you think you know what Gareth's going to be getting up to in Dubai tonight, let us know. Last thing, WBC convention.
I don't like the way you put that.
Well, it could be anything, couldn't it? So
a couple of margaritas and then bed.
There you go. So WBC convention. I watched your thing on Talksport with Adam Cattrall. It was interesting, because Adam kind of put some things out there, which, to be fair, strong allegations, because he's basically said in a roundabout way, suggested that some sort of deal got made because of Conor's case with the WBC, that once he's all clear and he's back at welterweight, he'll be made number one for the title, which sounds madness, because if that's true, surely that's like, if that ever got out, that would literally just ruin the WBC, wouldn't it? And even reputations for people involved.
Well, that was 2 and 2 equals 5. And obviously I talked around the houses with it, but that was all bound up in a conversation about the WBC Cares program, the test, the clomiphene being from eggs, which Conor Benn said that was never the case. I can't speak for Adam. You'll have to go back and watch that, because it's unfair of me to speak for Adam. What I did comment on at the time was money, timing and ego works in this sport. And it is very odd that Conor Benn, having not fought at welterweight for 4 years, gets the opportunity to be challenger to Mario Barrios, the winner of Mario Barrios and Ryan Garcia for the WBC welterweight crown. It's very odd.
I've got a question for you on it.
Why would they do that?
So you can find reasons for why he shouldn't be. What reasons do you think they could have used that he should be? Tell me some.
Well, just knowing that he's looking from the outside and looking at the overarching picture, I can't point fingers because I do not know the details of what's gone on here. But knowing how boxing works, Conor Benn's become a big star after beating Chris Eubank Jr. The WBC likes to get involved in the big stars. They court the big stars. They fall into issues with Terence Crawford over the sanctioning fees, obviously for the WBC crown, and he's dispatched them now. And I don't disagree with him. I think there should be a capping point for the amount they need to pay. Shouldn't be a percentage. They shouldn't be taxing boxers on their fights. It should be capped, and it should be the same for every sanctioning body, in my view. And that's why I'm glad it's come to the fore.
Do you know what the other one is charged? Does anyone know?
No, I don't. But I think the generally it's that amount. But I think it's known that the other sanctioning bodies charge less. I think there's been too many moves made by the WBC, and that's why I didn't disagree with Adam calling them out. I agreed on every point he made about Terence Crawford. I think it needs looking into for the side of the boxers. But to complete the round on what you're asking, I just think they're trying to manoeuvre him into position. I don't think it's a tit for tat backhand agreement. That's not, I don't believe it is. I just think they're manoeuvring him into position because they know that if Barrios comes to the UK and defeats Ryan Garcia, or if Ryan Garcia defeats Barrios, they have got a massive fight on their hands in the UK. It's a Wembley Stadium, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium fight with Conor Benn because he is a big crossover star now.
You know what I will say about the WBC, obviously they've had a lot of negative press
In the last week.
Yeah. But I got to see firsthand.
The worst bit is Subriel Matias and the New York Commission and the Osterine testing and what level it's at, and the fact that Matias has fought someone who's already passed away just a few years ago.
Yeah.
But it needs looking into with further detail. And
let me flip the script on that.
Yeah.
In that case, obviously everyone's putting the onus on the WBC, but if you're Dalton Smith, his management team, promoter, etc., could you not just say, well, we're not fighting him because he's got something in his system which can only be put in there if you take something? Or I'm assuming in his case he might be saying that he's had some meat that had Austrian in it or whatever, but ultimately it's in his system. So why wouldn't you just say, well, we're refusing to fight you and put some sort of case towards the WBC?
yeah, exactly. I agree. It's a very complex scenario.
You're still going ahead with it.
Yeah. Well, it hasn't been cancelled yet. Was it January the 14th?
It's still happening.
At the moment, it's still happening. We haven't had a statement from the New York State Athletic Commission yet. Personally, I think the problem is Dalton Smith wants that fight because he believes he can beat Subriel Matias, but God forbid something happened to him in that fight, because boxing will be literally shooting itself in the foot or maybe in the head, because it just doesn't seem right.
That's what I mean. You could flip it, but with
There's a lot going on, isn't there, at the moment?
With the WBC, I will say, because I know Maurizio was talking about this in regards to, an X amount of percentage going towards charitable stuff. And I've been to a few WBC conventions, and I'll be honest, the amount of stuff he does do for retired fighters,
There's no question about
and
that.
I ain't seen that from any of the other governing bodies, and he does spend the money. He does look after people that who need the money or in debt, etc. And I've seen him firsthand helping people out.
Well, I'm not going to denigrate any of the other sanctioning bodies because I know they all do work that's charitable. They do a lot of charitable work. I've known Mauricio a long time. They do care about boxing. They have got programs around the world. They brought in 12 rounds. They did research into women's boxing. They do a lot of things. They're very proactive. But what's happened is Terence Crawford has highlighted something that really needs to be looked into in detail, and we just need to know that the money is being used in the right way.
Yeah, that's it really. I think, like I said, we could talk for hours because that much has happened. But
We have talked for hours.
I'll show you something. Share something random with you. The most random thing I did in the last couple of weeks, I helped Jose Luis Castillo book into the hotel in Bangkok because he couldn't speak English, and she was asking him to spell his name.
Jose
So
Luis Castillo.
yeah, so I helped him spell his name and got him booked into his room. So that was quite funny.
I tell you what I remember about that. It was the perfect liver punch from Ricky Hatton that night.
Yeah.
I think it was at the Thomas and Mack Centre. Wayne Rooney carried his belt, one of his belts, Ricky's belts. And I'm pretty sure Noel Gallagher or Liam Gallagher carried the other belt. God, that was a night. God, that was a time. Rest in peace, Ricky Hatton. Peace out.
Yep. Gareth Davies in Dubai. I don't think I've interviewed you in Dubai before. Have I interviewed you in Dubai before? Yeah, we've done some interesting locations. Was Hollywood Boulevard? That was a bit wild. We've done Dubai.
By the Chinese theatre.
Bangkok. It's a shame we didn't come to Bangkok because we could have done something really funny there, but we'll leave that for another.
I was very busy doing, where was I? I was doing bare knuckle in Cardiff. That was a riotous night. There's some stars emerging there, by the way. Rhys Edwards' brother, Yestin Edwards. Wow, that kid is going to be something special.
Gareth, thank you very much.
Pleasure.